Welcome.
Welcome to this duologue with Desi and Chris.
My name is Desi, and I spent a lot of years in primary school education, so have lots of experience in this field. But also, I've been working on book creation, so graphic design, gardening since 2020, and when I was younger as well. So, quite a variety of experience from my side of things, as well as lots of work on personal development, mindset, natural health. Lots of years of experience in this field. So over to you, Chris.
Well, yeah, I'm Chris. I've done lots and lots of different things in my career, as it were, but we'll end up talking about those things because all of these things touch on what's going on at the moment, and there are changes in so many different industries with AI and everything. So basically, we'll come on to all those topics. But I've got a background in computing, more recently gardening, which is all relevant to the modern world, really. And recently, just lost a few teeth, and just so they're scheduled to be fixed. So you'll have to put up with my ugly mug for the time being. but anyway, those out of the way, and they're falling apart basically. So I've got some other things to talk about, which we'll come on to in due course. The idea is we have two of these shows per week, Tuesdays and Fridays. They're going to be such an eclectic bunch of different topics that it's difficult to mention what they all would be, but we find lots of things interesting, and there's lots of things happening in the world at the moment which leave you speechless in many respects, because there's so much craziness. I think everybody out there will probably agree with us. You can't believe what you hear. You can't believe anything that you hear, to be honest, and people want you to believe the most bizarre things. It'd be interesting to just bring those up and see what people think, and make comments in the notes of the videos, and share if you think there's something that you find a bit odd. But going through the topics, what sort of topics have we sort of identified, Desi?
So we're going to have them on the screen, flash one after the other, while we discuss them in a little bit more detail.
Okay.
So there will be altogether 6 of those. The first one we thought was quite a major and a big one is this information access and learning.
You could have said education, and you'd have kind of been in the right ballpark. But information access and learning is, where do we get our information from these days? And that's just such a changing topic all the time, because if you go back a few years, when I was growing up, we'd be eating our dinner and we have the TV on, and the BBC would be there, and it was the font of all information and wisdom. And the fall from grace has been quite dramatic. I suspect there are still people out there that do actually get their information from the BBC, but it's more of a comedy show these days, in the way I see it. And there's the information, and the real information is the stuff that the BBC are not able to report, because the people that are paying those bills want a certain narrative to be portrayed, and that's putting the mockers on the BBC doing really proper independent reporting, but they still want you to believe that that's what they do. But I think we all struggle with that. And information access and learning covers all sorts of things like AI and the explosion of the artificial intelligence over the last year and a half, 2 years. It's gone absolutely ballistic, and I think it's going to go on beyond what we think it could possibly be. Younger people out there probably not watching this, to be honest, but they're where the potential for AI to go is anyone's guess. So that's the first one. And then
Okay. We are reaching an age where we start to be more conscious about our health and well-being. And Chris just mentioned about his teeth, but there's other things going on as well, like high blood pressure, menopause. Yeah, in this topic, there will be a lot to talk about. What we discover with the, let's say, the NHS experience as we were dealing with Chris's high blood pressure, as well as the different ways and alternative ways of dealing with these issues as we age. ways to maybe rejuvenate. And one saying comes to my mind when I say health and well-being. This is probably one that will sum up the topic. A healthy person has many wishes. A sick person only has one. So we will only be able to go about and do all of this learning, information, technology, discussing, sharing, how we live life, how we do the garden, how we do money and finance, technology, AI, etc. Only if we have our health. So a big topic, that one.
Yeah, well, what's happened, just for you with the menopause, and for me for this blood pressure. It's not that I've never known I've had blood pressure, but it's only now become an issue because I've started to realise. Well, no, because I felt like there was a problem, and now that I've addressed it, I've gone to the doctors, as it were, first time for God knows how many years. They're telling me I've got this blood pressure. They're telling me I'm not me. Okay, there was some symptoms, but didn't feel like that bad. It wasn't that bad a problem. And then I ended up down in the hospital, and they told me I've got a massive problem here. And then I find myself on, for the first time in my life, prescription drugs. For people who are watching this, maybe, or people who might catch up with it later, or you may catch up with the conversation later on as well. Being on prescription drugs is like we're all on them, kind of thing. It's like it's no big deal. But for somebody that's lived their life entirely being able to go where they want, when they want, with who they want, for as long as they want, without a care in the world, i.e., I don't need to take anything with me. I can take my clothes and go, kind of thing. Suddenly being on prescription drugs is a massive, massive change. And I've got to get off them as quick as I can because I don't like it. I really do not like it. And they're all thinking, I'm like, what's the matter with you? Why is this such a big deal? Well, it is. I want to highlight that because for me, coming from my position, it's like I don't want to be on any drugs, none, because I don't feel like they are part of society. Really, it shouldn't be anyway. I suddenly feel myself beholden. It's like my life is sort of like circling around the health industry now, and it's valid and possible because that exists. And I'm not happy with that.
Let's move on to the next one, which is food and gardening.
Probably the most significant thing is that we need to take a little bit more responsibility for our food and what we're doing with it and how we're engaging with it. Gardening is the process of basically introducing it into your life, but it's healthy. It's good for you.
It's
Gets you out,
nutritious. Yeah.
in the vitamin D world. We've completely lost that edge of our lives, and possibly we need to reintroduce it. Let's say it like that. But anyway, it's something that we've done over the last few years, and it's been very therapeutic. It wouldn't seem like it, as I've collapsed. Mum's I'm collapsing, but maybe I would have collapsed already had I not been doing gardening.
Yeah,
So
so we'll be
that's
sharing about that, what we discover about high blood pressure, maybe cardio exercises and other things. Then the next topic is technology, AI, robots, cryptocurrencies, and any other like crypto technology related roboty AI things. This is where Chris will feel like a fish in his own nice water.
technology covers an absolutely massive spectrum, all the way from the mobile phones that we've all got to various other bits and pieces. I mean, it's different to AI robots, for example, is a different thing to information tech. Well, it's the same, but it's different in the you can categorize them differently, but technology is certainly going to go through the roof. And crypto is a different thing altogether because it's involved in finance and money. And finance and money is
Maybe
a
I put it in
whole,
the wrong place. Let
yeah,
me change it.
but it's a whole, it's such a huge spectrum. And now technology is basically changing the name of the game for everything, for jobs, money, finance. Technology fundamentally underpins it all. And you even got things like, Neuralink now connecting things to people's brains. Wow, this is a huge topic.
When I put crypto, I think I meant agents.
AI agent. The world we know in 20 years is going to be the world we don't know because 20 years from now, this is all going to change. And not only is it going to change, but how we live and work and make any money, if that's still around, who knows, how we're going to do all this stuff, it's going to be vastly different. I don't know. I don't fear for the next generation, because they're going to make it work, whatever. But there's just so many interesting topics that relate to this, and I enjoy talking about them, because I can see what's going to happen. Not exactly, but in the terms of the general trend that we're going down, I can see it. I can see why it's going to happen. I can see why it's going to happen, just exactly as how the internet happened. It's clear as day. This is what people want to do because they see more money. I'm talking to my grandson last night. He doesn't want to be involved in writing with pens and doing things with old technology, because what he's interested in is doing things quicker, doing things faster, doing things better, and doing things electronically and with digitization of every single thing. And why is he interested in doing that? Well, because they can do more quicker, for less time, for less effort, and for like.
And I actually did ask him, why do you want to do it quicker? Because I have an issue with quicker and efficient. I'm going through that self-discovery at the moment. Why do I want to have things happen quicker and faster? He said, if I finish this project quicker, I can move on to the next one. So that's another client. So I'll have more money, which actually brings us to number 5.
Yeah, which is
Money and finance.
Money and finance, and like how we see that world right now, and how, for example, if you're going to save, what do? Go down the bank and open a savings account, but that isn't going to be the way it is in the future. It's going to be different types of money, different forms of money, multipolar worlds. It's not just going to be the dollar. It's going to be the Chinese currency, maybe cryptocurrency. Maybe there's going to be a crypto world, and that's going to be one type of money, and you can delve into that. And then there's other types of money, and then maybe gold and silver gets a revival, because gold and silver is like, well, it's real money. You can touch it. It's solid. It's a metal. It's basically got value, intrinsic value as it is. And basically, we need to go back to that, because what can you do with debt? Debt is just hanging over you, and it's been hanging over America for years, and 36 trillion in debt, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. All the other debt of like obligations and liabilities that's been built up is hundreds of trillions. We're never going to pay it back, ever.
There'll have to be some change.
It needs to be got rid of. And like, maybe you don't like Trump, maybe you do like Trump, maybe you like some of what he's doing, maybe you don't like some of what he's doing. But basically, at the end of the day, the shit needs to hit the fan so that we can get a clear out.
And then this brings us to number 6. Yeah.
The society and how we live. Look at the changes that are going on in America at the moment. What's been brought with all the immigration? 2 ways. Like, oh, we need it, we don't need it, we didn't. It's ruining us, it's not ruining us. So there's always 2 ways of looking at it. But look at what's happening in Europe. Europe's collapsing all over the place with unelected bureaucrats. But by the same token, we're almost on World War III. Mindless. It's absolutely mindless, and there's all sorts of ways of looking at that. Are you right? Are you wrong? It really doesn't matter, does it? It's like what you do.
And the thing that goes through all of these topics will be mindset, because this is where I am very passionate about. So this could be my contribution to the whole of this. Well, Chris has the knowledge. I have the backing up of the mindset. So we can go 2 ways, really. We can be fearful, and we can be embracing change and going forward with love and acceptance. It's up to us. And sometimes, I'm not saying that I'm a very fearless and brave person. I've had my fair share of fears dealt with in the last few years, addressing this, even like putting some light on why we behave the way we behave and why we do the things we do through the lens of mindset and self-discovery. So as you can see, these are all topics that we find interesting. So we thought we would share our opinion. And maybe some people might find some inspiration, find them useful, say that they're probably not alone in thinking the way they're thinking, because it could be very isolating when you have a different opinion to the people in your family even.
Well, hopefully, what happens with these conversations, because they are discussions and they have a background in Link for Growth, which is something that I was involved in, still am, is communication and discussion. Unfortunately, during the period of when we were introducing this concept of being able to talk to people about things, first of all, we got into the debate about staying in Europe in 2016. The whole country was divided over the shall we stay in Europe, the whole Brexit deal. And then, well, I personally had an issue because I had a problem with my mum's health failing. So that was an issue that got in the way. And since then, we've had the COVID thing. You know, the COVID thing isn't so much about the virus and stuff. It's more about what happened to people and the fact that they took one side and the other people took another side. Never the twain shall meet. And it drove families completely apart. And it's carried on since those days because people remember and they don't forgive. And then we get into this whole issue of, well, you know, oh yeah, they didn't have the vaccine and they didn't have this, and they can't be trusted. Or don't ask them because they're this type of people, or worse. And it's completely broken society. And when we come on to this society thing, how do you rebuild that? How can you rebuild those damaged things? Because they run deep, they run huge. And now, of course, you've got people who are talking about money and different types of money. Oh, no, that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Never going to have different kind of money. You know, the systems, the way it was, it's always going to be the way it was. What happens when it isn't like it always was? Well, I don't think it's going to happen. And then when it does, or if it does, and should it happen, we've got another set of divisions. We have to form our own opinions and decide what we're going to do and whether we're going to forgive or forget or whatever. But, you know, when you've got everything else going on, it's not always the easiest thing to do, is it? I run into trouble about health. I've got an opinion on health. I'm going to try and give up these drugs as soon as I started them. Oh, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing that. Why not? Well, because they're going to look after. No, they're not. No, yes, they are. They are going to look after you.
And we go back to this mindset. It's either with people judging you or you judging people, or some people want to be right and I told you so, and other people want to be in charge and tell you what to do and think they know better. And even if you didn't ask for advice, they want to give it to you because they think that's the way. There's only one way. There's my way. Right. So there's a lot to talk about. All things that we hope you find interesting.
All of these subjects will be covered in some capacity, but it'll be like, what on earth? What's going on at the moment that will prompt something to come up which is of interest to discuss? And as it comes up, like my health, for example, we'll go into that one. And then if it's something like AI or something, we'll go into that one. If it's crypto or money or gold or silver, we'll go into that one. If it's about what's going on in Europe or what's going on in the States, that might come up. So none of it's going to be pre-described. It's going to come up as it comes up in society.
As more of a podcast. Subscribe, comment, like. We want to see how this goes and where it takes us. The more people we inspire, the better.
We'll be traveling around and living our life and doing things as we are doing, but we'll be plumbing this in as things crop and obviously sharing them with you. So there'll be hopefully adding a little bit of rich tapestry to your life as well as we discover things and we share our experience.
Thank you for tuning in.
See you for now.
Bye.